Welcome to the Kushti Racing channel. My name is Kushti and this is my racing journey on Gran Turismo 7. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. In this video we are going to be analysing a few of the incidents which occurred in the race I released the day before yesterday. If you watched that video, you'll have seen that after the race there was an accusation of push to pass by Daily Bob on our friend Mitchell Morgan. It's made me look back at the replay and I thought it'd be interesting to take you through a few of the incidents and give you my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours, so don't forget to leave those in the comments section below. I hope you enjoy this one. So I want to take you through a few of these incidents that happened in this race. The first one is at the start of lap 3. We're on board with Sabaria. He comes down my inside. I outbrake myself, accidentally tap Enzo. He doesn't go off, but his line into this corner is compromised and he takes it a bit wide, compromises his exit. Barry comes up the inside and then suddenly there's contact from Enzo there. Barry's having none of it, pushes him out off the track and Enzo drops down into 4th place. Let's just look at that again. From Enzo's perspective, looking in the rear view mirror, 1st place coming into this 1st corner, down into 2nd gear. There's a tap from me. He's then looked in the rear view mirror, thought, oh, that must be Barry. Slightly overzealous through here. Barry comes up the inside and he's deliberately swerved across into Barry. Now, look, people make mistakes in this game. I don't think there's a place in this game for retaliation. There was nothing intentional from me or from Barry, certainly not from Barry anyway there. And his retaliation has effectively cost him at least 2 places, maybe 3. Arguably he's going to get one of those places back, luckily for him, because Daily Bob's got this penalty. But what we really want to look at is for an incident involving Daily Bob, Rooty and Mitchell Morgan. Now Mitchell Morgan was and is in this race the highest rated or highest placed B rated driver. At this point we're on lap 3, halfway through lap 3. Mitchell's, over a second behind Rooty. Doesn't take that corner particularly well. Mitchell could have got tighter into the corner, could have taken more speed through the corner and used up more of the road on the exit. Same with that one, if I'm honest. And arguably the same with that one as well. Could have taken a lot more speed through there. On the power nice and early here. Probably rev the car out a little bit more through there now. Lifts on that one. Bigger lift on that one. And another lift on that one. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. As I've said before, that's flat out in qualifying pretty much. So time to be had for Mitchell through there. Now the gap to Rooty is closed to about half because Rooty, Red Fox and Daily Bob are all fighting for P4. Mitchell's got a relatively good exit here. He's staying with these 3 cars in front. Probably could have taken a bit more of the curb on the inside there and a bit more of the road on the outside as well. But despite that, as he comes off this left-hander, he's right up behind Rooty. Now this is where an incident occurs. So as Mitchell comes around this corner here, Rooty sort of hits the inside. Sounds like he hits the outside. I don't think he hits Mitchell at all, if I'm honest. So in fact I know he didn't hit Mitchell. We've just been on board with him. He definitely didn't hit Mitchell. But let's look at it from Rooty's perspective. What actually happens here? So we know he hits the inside, we know he hits the outside. Let's just pause that here. Now the first thing to say is the line through this corner that Rooty is taking is more akin to the line that I would take if this was a qualifying lap. Two do differ slightly because you want to have a faster exit speed down this long straight in the race compared to your competitors, so you might adjust your line accordingly. But that's that aside, the absolute quickest way through the corner is the line that Ruti is taking. So as we sort of skip this on, what we'll see here is that because of the line that Red Fox and Daily Bob are taking, the gap that appears to be up the inside of Daily Bob is only going to decrease. They have effectively late apex this corner, and Ruti is already apex the corner. And therefore this gap that Ruti may be able to go into is disappearing. Ruti, oops, let's go on the walkabout for a second. Oops, if I can work out how to control the camera. Ruti is arguably not significantly enough alongside to demand that space on the inside, and therefore at this point, in my opinion, Ruti should be backing out of this move. Now he doesn't do. What happens here, he's made contact with Daily Bob. That's going to do two things. That's going to first of all destabilise Bob's car and compromise Bob's exit, and it's going to push Ruti's car towards the right, which it does. And if you look there, it looks like he's heading for this rock. It clips the inside just before the rock, bounces towards the left. You'll notice that Daily Bob, after the contact, started experiencing some oversteer. He corrected it with some left steering, and now what he's going to get is he's going to effectively get understeer as he exits the corner. He's probably going to have to get off the throttle slightly to sort of regain the grip and reapply the throttle. Now, in Ruti's desperation to keep with these two, Red Fox and Daily Bob, and try and protect himself from being overtaken by Mitchell, it's really important that Ruti gets on the power early here, which you can see from the telemetry. He's full on the power already, and as he gets on the power, the car just simply slides and understeers out, knowing that you can't fast forward or make this play at a slightly different speed. But anyway, taking it frame by frame as quickly as I can press the button. The car understeers out, and unfortunately he misjudges it, and he clips the outside of the corner, which now compromises Ruti all the way down this straight. And you can see there Mitchell comes through on the inside. No contact with anyone except Daily Bob, and quite frankly, whilst he has compromised Daily Bob slightly, Ruti, the main person that's taken punishment from that move, was himself. So let's let this play on, right? And Mitchell's now in Daily Bob's slipstream. Wants to get right up behind him, pull out at the last minute, ideally take the inside line into this corner at the end. But that's not what happens. Daily Bob moves to the inside, Mitchell goes to the outside. Now it is possible to get round this corner side by side and keep the outside line, but it is hugely difficult, and you have to rely on the person that has the inside line to leave you room on the outside on the exit of the corner. Now that person on the inside only has to leave room on the exit of the corner if the person is still there, of course. And as I say, it's quite hard to maintain that speed when you're taking a slightly wider line through the corner. But let's see what happens. Mitchell takes the wider line. Daily Bob's got the better line, can accelerate out of the corner earlier, and ultimately gets the position, or maintains the position. Now as we come into this corner, this is where the push to pass happens. Okay, so I'm just going to let it play out for a minute. Some contact. Daily Bob's on the right, a little bit more contact there. Then Mitchell gets contact from Daily Bob and ends up in the barrier, and he goes from 5th place down to 8th place now. And as he comes out of or he exits the tunnel, he's now down in 9th place. So that whole incident has cost Mitchell potentially 4 places, arguably 4 places. But he's been accused of push to pass, so what does that really mean? Now, let's just fast forward. Let's let it play to this point here. As I come into this corner normally, you'll see that the position of Daily Bob's car, he's over there on the right hand side of the track on the marbles. Now this corner doesn't require a great deal of braking. It's just about getting some front end turning to be able to get to the apex. That's the most tricky part of this corner. And we're going to see an example of someone getting it right and someone getting it wrong. And Daily Bob is out on the outside of the track here, a little bit wide, and in doing so, and you'll see that Bob is braking. Let's just change the view on Mitchell's car. Mitchell is not yet braking. Keep watching the lights. Now Mitchell is braking. So Mitchell's braked a lot later than Daily Bob. But the most important thing here, if we just move this on again a little bit, is here. Now, at this point, and we're just on the way into the corner now. Okay, we're not at the apex yet. We're on the entry into the corner, towards the apex. And if we take the same view as we took with with Ruti earlier, this time Mitchell Morgan is sufficiently alongside to warrant Daily Bob having to leave him a car's width on the inside and not to cut him off. And quite frankly, if Daily Bob does cut him off and Mitchell is less than halfway along his car, Daily Bob's going to spin out in any event. So it's actually in his best interest to leave a car's width on the inside and try to maintain the position by going around the outside on this corner. So let's just go back inside the cars here. Now the telling point for me here as we come into this is if Mitchell's going to be taking the inside line into this corner, he needs to ensure that his left-hand tyres are right up on that curb like Red Fox's are. And at the moment, in this where the screen we're looking at, his car is not pointing towards that point of the track, pointing towards the trees ahead. Daily Bob's arguably is also pointing to the trees ahead, of course, but looks like he's aiming more towards an apex, which if you can imagine there's a car and a half's width that he's got to leave. The apex for Daily Bob is going to be to the right of Red Fox's car, and that's kind of where Daily Bob is aiming, albeit slightly more to the right at the moment. But as we advance in, you can see Daily Bob is now more akin to that line, and there is room on the inside for Mitchell. If we go back to Mitchell's car, the attitude of Mitchell's car is still pointing straight forward. It's not turned in enough. And well, we've seen what happens next. But if we fast forward, move it forward slightly, the two cars come together. There's contact at this point here, so before the apex there's contact. And again, Mitchell's car isn't pointing towards the very tight line that he needs to take through this corner to make this move stick. Daily Bob, his car is taking the right line for Mitchell to have a car's width on the inside, maybe even have left 1.5 cars width on the inside there, and Mitchell still made contact with him. That isn't the be and end all of push to pass, but as we skip it on, what happens is Mitchell's line moves to the left and therefore corrects his the wide line he was taking through the corner, and arguably Mitchell's line on the exit of this corner is now improved following that contact. And yet if we look at the attitude of Daily Bob's car, he's pointing to those trees again. He's heading towards the outside of this corner, and he's going to have to correct and steer, and obviously maybe even come off the throttle or get on the throttle a bit later. And his corner is seriously compromised as a consequence of Mitchell Morgan not taking a tight enough line into this corner. So because of that contact, because of that push, okay, Bob's line is compromised, Mitchell's line is improved, and ultimately it costs Daily Bob the place and gains Mitchell Morgan the place. How much he's sliding after that contact. Mitchell is now ahead. It's gained Mitchell that place through the contact. Again, if it'd come through, I'm not even really a believer in rubbing doors, if I'm honest with you. But it's the last lap, you're at full speed, you're on the ragged edge on all of these corners. Mistakes are going to happen. I'm not saying that any of this stuff's intentional, but ultimately, if you have to push someone out of the way or to knock someone out of the way to get that position, which is what's happened here, then that is push to pass, and that's exactly what Mitchell's done. If it's me and I've done a pass like that, I'm not saying get it right 100% of the time, but the right thing to do is to back out at some point and allow Daily Bob to come past. Unfortunately, even if that was Mitchell's intention, after hitting him, I don't think he's given an opportunity to allow Daily Bob back past. But we'll see what happens as we come out of the corner. Mitchell gets a bit squirrely on the exit as well, as he accelerates whilst the wheels are on the curve there by the look of it. Daily Bob is still trying to correct his line, and as we move forward as quickly as we can here, you'll note that again Mitchell is not aware of his surroundings, and he should have the radar on really when you're in close battle like this. And again, as they come through this corner, there isn't sufficient room. Arguably Daily Bob could have been tighter, but he's just been smacked wide on the previous corner. And again, there's more contact. There's more contact there. They're rubbing. That's rubbing, right? That's not quite so bad. As we come down into this corner, excuse me, what's really interesting here, first of all, Mitchell's all over the shop in terms of his line. Okay, so first thing I would say is pick a line. You're going to pick the inside line into a corner, commit to the inside line. You're going to pick the outside line, commit to the outside line. Either the other person behind you can then tuck in behind you, or pick the alternative line that you haven't picked and see if they can pick up the position by taking that alternative line. The defensive line into this corner is probably the correct one at this stage for Mitchell, but this moving around it's not braking, but moving around and swerving around, it's a little bit naughty. But it might just be that actually the car's a bit out of control following the small amount of contact that the two of them had in the corner previous. Then what I'm interested in, as I said, was when does Mitchell start braking? So let's just keep an eye out for the brake lights. We'll keep moving it forward frame by frame, and we'll get to here, and the brake lights have just come on. Now if we look at Daily Bob's car and the time, it is a 1:28.6 on the frame where Mitchell's brake lights come on. How much longer is it before Daily Bob applies the brakes? So if we advance it forward, Daily Bob's still full on the throttle, still full on the throttle, still full on the throttle, still full on the throttle. When do the brake lights come on? We must have missed it. That's annoying. Let's go back 10 seconds. Let's play it again. Keep an eye on the lights. Maybe I missed it. Keep fast forwarding. Come on, where are the brake lights? There they are. The brakes have now come on. It's annoying because I can't remember the time now, but I think it was a 1:28.6. We're now on a 1:29.1. That's half a second later. Now, half a second doesn't sound like a long time, but actually, when you're in one of these races and you're right up behind someone else, half a second is a huge amount of time to not be braking for. And at this point, the braking, whilst it's enough to make the lights come on the car, is insufficient to even register on the telemetry at the bottom. And from Mitchell Morgan's perspective, he's on, what's that, 30% brake, something like. So again, as we move the telemetry, frames on slightly, still nothing really showing. Smidge maybe on the bottom of Daily Bob's telemetry there for braking, and Mitchell's now up to about 75%. Oops. And at this point, which is about when they make contact, oops, Daily Bob still barely has any brake on, and Mitchell Morgan has 75% brake on. Now, there is an argument here that maybe Mitchell Morgan braked a little earlier than normal. Now, again, if you are taking the corner on the inside, you are likely to have to brake a little bit earlier. First point to note. But if you are legitimately trying to get past, you're not going to get past in this corner, it's too tight. But you might be able to get a better exit, you might be able to dive up the inside or up around the outside, etc, etc. I think it's highly unlikely that you're going to get past in the corner. It's going to be on the exit of this corner where I would be going for a move if I'm Daily Bob trying to get past Mitchell. Now, in reality, in order to get that better exit out of the corner and to maximise my opportunity to overtake Mitchell, I'm not tucked up behind him like Daily Bob is here. I'm out to the right, over near the I can't show you annoyingly, but over near the rocks on the right, and therefore maximising the or opening the corner up as much as I possibly can, hopefully getting the better exit, and then when we go into the tunnel, either I'm taking the outside of the inside line and I'm hoping to gain some sort of advantage through that corner. This corner's too tight to get past, so it's all about my exit speed, and Bob doesn't do that. Bob leaves it half a second later before braking, and look, I can't get into someone's psyche, I can't say for absolute certain, but in my opinion, he doesn't go to the right, which would be the better line. He brakes half a second later. He has just felt that he's been pushed to past by Mitchell, as he says in the comments at the end of the race. In my humble opinion, this action here, where there is contact between Mitchell and Daily Bob, is done on purpose, and ultimately that's cost Mitchell, and it was a lack of experience in my opinion. I think being a B-rated driver, probably a lack of experience in terms of that pass in that previous corner. But again, in my opinion, and it's annoying that PD doesn't punish it, but no punishment will happen for Daily Bob as he basically punts Mitchell into the barrier. And again, just going to take that back 10 seconds. We're going to look at it all from Mitchell Morgan's perspective. We'll put it in the racing cam, play at full speed, not tight on that inside, hits Daily Bob, line's corrected, comes out, look in the rear view mirror here, boom, that to me looks like a punt, and that's cost him 1, 2, 3 and eventually 4 places. It's unfortunate, very, very unfortunate, but that is ultimately because he didn't keep a tight enough line into that corner where he went for the move. I hope you liked that one, guys. If you did, don't forget to give the video a like, and if you want to see more content from me, hit that subscribe button as well. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.